Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the third How Did They Do That Live of this school year. For those of you who have joined us before, you know that How Did They Do That Live is where we, the Ed Tech department, actually uplift the voices of other people in the district. And we kind of echo great things going on across the entire district so that you can kind of hear that and see that in the classroom. Today is going to be a little bit different format. We don't have other teachers or coaches presenting. Well, we've got a couple teachers and coaches presenting today, but we actually were lucky enough to get some outside vendors as well to come in and present. So I'm really excited about this, How They Do That. I think we have an exciting hour ahead of us. I just want to go over a couple of housekeeping items before we get started. Number one, this is a live event. So it's a slightly different format than we normally present in. And what that means is a live event is you, the attendees, do not have the option to turn on your camera. So if you're trying to turn on your camera to be good students for CIPD, no worries, you can keep those off today. And additionally, there's no chat area as well. We're expecting quite a large audience for this. So instead of having the chat area, we do have a Q&A area. So you are able to post questions and those questions will go live and we will be able to answer them as we're able to. So definitely post any questions you have. And then I will share the way to get attendance at the end. So stay tuned for the attendance information. I will go over that at the end. That covers all of our housekeeping items today. So I do want to start with our agenda. I'm moving pretty quickly here because we had a jam-packed hour for you. So our first presenter today is from Microsoft Education, presenting on MakeCode, and his name is Matt Douglas. He will start us off here in just a moment. From there, we will hear from CodeHS and a gentleman named Lucas, and Lucas will talk to you all about the Hour of Code modules available in CodeHS and why you might want to do Hour of Code with your students, whatever subject area you are. And then we will hear from Matthew. So we got a Matt and a Matthew. We'll hear from Matthew, our Ed Tech director, and he will talk about he'll present content on Discovery Ed for you. And then we'll hear from Andrew Johnson, who is one of our teachers. He's a computer science teacher over at Enox, and he'll talk about code.org and how you can use code.org to find a variety of different coding lessons. And then finally, we'll wrap up with Scott Nunes, who's going to share some different projects, and he'll actually do a little teaser of the December How Did They Do That Live as well. I do see one question came in about cameras. No need for your cameras today. Today, you can just sit and get. And if you do have questions, post those in the Q&A. All right, with that being said, Matt, take it away.
Great, thank you, Alexandra. Hi, everyone. My name is Matt Douglas, and I work with Microsoft Education. Here to talk a little bit today about MakeCode and what you can do to engage with your students, even in a remote setting. So go ahead, take a look at the first slide here. And we can go to the next one here. So MakeCode, if you're not familiar, is a free open source platform for creating computer science learning experiments and getting students involved with coding. And one of the things that I think is really great about it is that it works for a wide variety of knowledge levels. It's great for students that are just learning how to code. There's block-based coding editors that allow students to have pre-configured series of code blocks, and they learn how to arrange them and kind of understand the syntax of coding language. And then as they build their confidence, they're able to actually use a full-featured JavaScript editor, or we've even recently included Python editors available for students that are ready to take that next step in their computer science journey. And one of the other things that I think is really great about it is the ability for students to take the projects that they're working on, whether that be in the physical classroom or at home, and if they'd like to continue to edit it, they have the freedom to do so. I used to work at the Microsoft Store, and we used to have these MakeCode activities where students would get so excited about it, they'd want to be able to grab that URL at the end, share it with their friends, their families, or continue even tweaking on their projects after they were done concluding the scope of the original product. And it's great to see students get really excited about the learning, you know, that gamification of learning, getting them to really engage with this stuff to a point where they don't even really think about it as school. It's just a fun activity for them that they're also learning and growing with is just a really exciting thing to see. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. And there's just a brief video here that we can play. I don't know if we have audio available. Perfect.
Matt, it looks like the YouTube video doesn't want to play in the PowerPoint for some reason, and I'm not sure we've got audio going through anyway. So
Okay, no worries.
sorry about that.
That's okay. That's I'll share some websites. Actually, the Microsoft.com/MakeCode on the previous slide has this video hosted. This is just one video that I kind of wanted to showcase really quickly to show how some educators were using it in the classroom, but that's fine. We can just go ahead and go to the next slide. So there's a couple different components that MakeCode has. I'm not going to talk about every single tool or program that MakeCode has available, but I wanted to touch on a few that I have a little bit of experience with. And the first one is MakeCode Arcade, which is available at arcade.makecode.com. I think this is a great place to start because there's no need for any additional hardware. Students just need the ability to have an internet connection and a web browser. They'll have the best experience in Edge or Chrome, but any web browser will work. And they can develop their own games, these 2D arcade style games, and they can use either that block-based coding or Python or JavaScript to be able to build out these games. They'll be able to create their own pixel art if they'd like to, use loops if they'd like to, add scoring, add music. There's a wide variety of things that they can do. There's some pre-configured lesson plans that'll give step-by-step tutorials to students if they'd like to learn on their own, or you as an educator could also use those and have a guided lesson virtually in the classroom if you'd like to. And students get really excited about this stuff and ask, how do I do this at home if I want to play around with it more? It's a great starting off point. Students also have the ability to share the link out at the end. There's a share feature, so they can grab a URL if they'd like to share it with their parents, guardians, or friends, and it gives them the ability to continue to work on the project afterward. This is totally free, and there's no additional equipment that students need to have in order to engage with this stuff, and great for younger learners that are maybe just starting their computer science journey, but those that are a bit more well-versed with coding can still use JavaScript to be able to build something out if they want to get a little more complex with it. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. So this is just an example of kind of a snip of what the website looks like, and this is going to look largely the same for the rest of the MakeCode tools that we'll be reviewing today. But you can see here, there's that tutorial section in the middle pane that has a few step-by-step guided tutorials. That could be self-guided, or you as an educator could use that as a guideline to create your own project that you'd like to use with your students. There are also multi-part tutorials that are rather new for more complex, maybe advanced lessons down there at the bottom. And then students have the ability to create their new projects up there at the top. Anything that they add in code, whether it be block-based or JavaScript, gets saved, and they can import existing tools, or they can save it, copy it over if they'd like to maybe modify and have a variation of their project. It's pretty flexible to do that, and then that can all be shared via URL if they would like to share it with friends and family. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. Cool. Another one we've got, relatively new for me, but I think is really neat, is Microbit. So that's available at makecode.microbit.org. And you can see right there, there's the Microbit. It has an LED screen, a light sensor, an accelerometer, a compass. There's a few other tools that are built in there. That with that circuit board, you can use things like gator clips or other kind of tools, and you can import the code in there, so students can use a wide variety of different projects and combine code. And unlike, say, something like the MakeCode Arcade, where they're doing everything in the web browser, they can have some more tactile, hands-on feedback to kind of see how their code is working and understand if there's any revisions they need to make to their code. It's a really exciting thing to see. If you go on the MakeCode website, you can see a few examples of projects that are available with Microbit. One of the most interesting ones that I saw was the ability to connect the Microbit via a few different gator clips and connect it to a banana, and essentially have students be able to use the banana as kind of a keyboard to create music. And there's a wide variety of different like toys and science experiments or radio games that you can use. All of this information is available with guided lesson plans on makecode.microbit.org. there's the actual make part where students are actually connecting the hardware or whatever tools they have physically to get the project going, and then they do all the coding for free in the online web browser, just like they would with Make Code Arcade. So something a little bit more hands-on. Students can get really creative with it. There's plenty of guided lesson plans there, but if your students want to get really creative with it, or if you're inspired and you see potential for something that you may not see in a lesson plan online, you can get really experimental with it as well. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. And then here's just an example of what the block-based coding looks like. You can see here we have the ability to program the LEDs. There's also the ability to create loops, add music if it was, say, Make Code Arcade. So for students that might just be starting their computer science journey, if they're a bit younger, I just wanted to give you all an example of what that block-based coding interface looks like. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. And then we also have, I'm not going to go into this too deep because I think we might have a presentation on this later, but kind of similar to what we had with a few of the Make Code. There's also the Minecraft Hour of Code available at code.org/Minecraft, where they can use block-based coding and see how play around and solve a few different puzzles and activities using either Alex or Steve from Minecraft. Any student that has access to a web browser can access these tools for free. One thing I really appreciated about it is that it's compatible with Immersive Reader as well. So any student that needs to follow those step-by-step guidelines or instructions, it's inclusive to everyone, regardless of what their learning or reading learning speed or reading capability is. You can go ahead and go to the next slide. And then we also have a bunch of Make Code integration with Minecraft Education Edition. Minecraft Education Edition is my absolute favorite part about working with Microsoft Education. With Make Code, there is a program called Code Connection where students can use Minecraft Education Edition, explore the world with their avatar, build out a Minecraft world, and then it connects with Code Connector so that they can actually import code if maybe they want to have an avatar, maybe they design a few loops to have some automated processes go on. There's a wide variety of different resources available here. If we go to the next slide. At minecraft.makecode.com, there's a number of tutorials and suggestions for projects that can be made. I know Minecraft can be kind of intimidating for some educators that are maybe aware of what Minecraft is, but they don't know much about how to use it. I'm not someone that really knows how to navigate Minecraft too much, but one of the really, really great things about Minecraft Education Edition and Make Code is seeing the students get really excited about their projects and start working with their peers to help them out if they're struggling with a part of their code, or helping them better understand maybe a way to optimize their code. And they have the opportunity to be the teacher, and they can actually teach you along the way how they're getting stuff done and accomplished in their Minecraft projects. I worked with a school a few months ago that used this to essentially transfer their 7 Wonders of the World paper into a guided virtual tour of each of the 7 wonders of the world, and then created signposts along the way, and essentially turned their paper into that guided tour that a parent, a guardian, or a peer could go navigate. So it works really well with STEM. There are some amazing resources available with the educator community at education.minecraft.net if you're more STEM focused. But even for educators that may not have a computer science focus, I think there's a tremendous amount of versatility with Minecraft Education Edition. It works on Chromebooks now, and it works on Windows 10 devices, and it's exciting to see the students just get so engaged and enraptured with their learning. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. So I just wanted to share a few more resources. They've been on some previous slides, but if you're interested in learning a little bit more about Make Code and don't know much about it, I'd suggest getting started at microsoft.com/makecode. There's some video tutorials for the tools that we mentioned, and there's a few other pieces of hardware that integrate with Make Code. And if you'd like to learn a little bit more about those, you can see that there. There are online editors where you can see how the block-based coding or the JavaScript is compiled, and there's a bunch of different project ideas, especially when we're looking at the microbit one. I would suggest taking a look at that just to see the wide variety of different things you can do with that circuit board. It's pretty fascinating. That second link, makecode.com/blog, will give you an up-to-date view of what's new in MakeCode. Like, for example, we recently came out with Python in addition to JavaScript. And then for Minecraft Education Edition, not only for the MakeCode stuff, but maybe even outside of STEM, there's a wealth of different lesson plans, pre-created rules, and a really supportive community page over at education.minecraft.net if you'd like to learn a little bit more. So thanks all for the time. Really excited to be here, and we can go on to the next presenter.
All right. Thank you, Matt, for sharing lots of great resources from Microsoft, it looks like. We've got microbits, which are great hands-on activities. We got stuff in Minecraft, which I know really blew up over the past couple years. So lots of great stuff. And just kind of as an admin little housekeeping item, you will be getting a copy of this PowerPoint presentation. So if you feel like there's some really great resources here, you didn't get a chance to jot down the link, that's okay. Tomorrow morning, after I mark attendance, I will go ahead and send this on over to you guys. All right, and there's some additional resources here as well that I believe Matthew threw in. There's a link to the MakeCode and a link to the arcade.